So, what was the expected allocation of stimulus funds? Um, we know that some people have taken issue with and they have, blatantly talked about the fact that they feel that Americans are not spending money or that they have not spent their stimulus money in ways that they had kind of expected, right? And those ways that they expected were people spending the money on rent, on mortgage payment, and bills. And I get it. I get that that is, the expectation. But there's an issue that I think needs to be talked about. And it's the fact that this really comes down to people feeling like people don't deserve money, at least the stimulus money. What, Brittany, what in the world are you talking about? Well, look, rent, mortgage, and bills, right? Those are things that pretty much all adults in this country have to deal with, right? They have to take care of. And as part of being a responsible adult, you have to take care of these things, right? Um, but we saw, especially going back to that first stimulus package, we saw data that suggested that people were spending money on other things, right? They were getting electronics. They were, ordering out a little bit more. They were saving, which we'll talk about momentarily. They were doing a whole bunch of things that were outside of the realm of rent, mortgages, and bills. How dare these people who did not work for this money, people who did not put blood, sweat, and tears into earning this money, how dare they take that money and do things that will, or buy things that will bring them enjoyment? They don't deserve to do that. They barely deserve to be able to afford a home. That was the sentiment that we had seen, like literally seen. And I'm talking about like when you observed, especially on like mainstream media, when you observed some of these people talking and, specifically stating this, that, well, they should have spent the money on uh bills and rent and mortgages. When you observed these, when you literally saw their faces, when you saw their body language, you sensed that they were uncomfortable. You sensed that they were angry. You sensed that they were frustrated, that people who did not deserve the money spent it on something other than the bare necessities. And the reason that I have an issue with this is not because I want to validate people's ability to spend money on the latest video games or spend money, um, what else were they doing? I don't know, buying clothes, whatever I'm not, I don't want to validate that. But the reason that I take an issue and I feel it's worth noting is because money that was not used for rent, not used for mortgages, not used to pay bills was still put into the economy. That money still ended up circulating in our economy. And what was the point of stimulus? The point of the stimulus was to stimulate the economy. It's the economy, stupid. I had mentioned months and months ago, in a previous podcast episode, that what a lot of people really want is they want control. They want to dictate to you what you do with. Let me tell you, even if, let's say, Bob, right, Bob gets his stimulus check, he has his rent that's due, he doesn't go pay his rent. Instead of that, he goes to GameStop and he buys all the games, he buys it. No, he goes to Walmart and he just does it up and he doesn't pay his rent. Yeah, he's probably going to get kicked out of his spot. Yeah, he probably will. But Bob still took that money to Walmart or wherever the heck he went and put that money into our economy. Bob has to deal with the ramifications of what happens from him not paying his rent. But the American economy still got stimulated. Now, does it make the most sense? No. But again, We have to look at the point. What was the point of the stimulus? The point of the stimulus was to stimulate the economy. And people should not care the way by which people decided to personally stimulate the economy. What they should care about is, was the economy stimulated? Now, are there ways that are going to be more stimulating to the economy than others? Absolutely. Absolutely. But as much as we like to talk about the free market doesn't only and exclusively apply to businesses where they get to decide and they, explore and they're out, on the free market. The free market is also applicable to the consumer. You don't have a market in this economy without the consumer, and they are just as free as the businesses. And so I say this before we really get into kind of the nitty gritty of inflation due to stimulus. I say this because it's just been bugging me over the time that that I have been away. I've really been observing, when you really look at and listen to what some people are saying, what they want from the average consumer is they want control. They really want control. They want to tell you where to spend your money and how to spend your money. But when you actually look at what you have done, regardless of how you've decided to spend your money, even if you've kept your money in the bank, and we'll talk about that later, you still have stimulated the economy. Like has been said in the past, it's the economy, stupid.